Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Becoming a beloved manager. I don't envy managers. Often they're marionetted by their bosses, by supervisees, by rules, by policies, by laws, and managers don't get overtime. Yet it's sort of the American way to aspire, quote, upward into management. Well, here are some thoughts on feeling good about being a manager, maybe even becoming a beloved one. Streamline meetings. Meetings are often frustrating, long, and not fruitful enough to justify the time away from their work. Meetings are the communication method of choice, mainly when real-time group input is valuable. Otherwise, email, Microsoft Teams, Slack, or Google Chat are preferable. Would-be attendees to a meeting then don't have to stop what they're doing. And certainly avoid meetings for dog and pony shows. Those tend to be longer on showing off than on benefit to the group. If a meeting is justified, send a crisp draft agenda the day before and keep to it. Some of the most effective meetings are 20-minute stand-up meetings in which the participants are standing, and it's scheduled right before the lunch hour, so people tend to stay within the time limit. If someone's droning on, the good manager interrupts, paraphrases so the person feels heard, and moves on. For example, so you're saying X. Thank you. Moving on. One size does not fit all. Beloved managers individualize. More structure or less. More accountability or more freedom. Individual versus teamwork. Technical work or more people or word-centric work. Heavier workload or lighter. Tolerating more of their poor performance or less. Yes, individualization could yield objections of favoritism, but it's worth it as long as you explain that your goal as a manager is to try to bring out the best in each employee, and that does mean individualization. Earned praise and usually tactful criticism. We devalue managers who praise for too little and whose criticisms lack tact, although sometimes being direct is appropriate. Dispense earned praise for something specific. Maybe you might even write a handwritten note that they can show family. Of course, too much praise can build entitlement to excessive raises and promotions. Mentoring. Many people wish they had a respected person take them under wing. Might you be that mentor? Perhaps someone you feel kindred with. Open the door to a mentorship by asking about work. For example, how's the work going? But then you might get broader. For example, how do you feel your career is progressing? Or even something personal like, I don't know much about you. You want to share something about your outside of work life? Resisting your being laid off. Some good managers will be laid off because AI is getting ever better at decision making. Survivors will be adept at handling individual, nuanced, subjective situations. For example, regarding a low performer who for some reason cannot be let go without the firm risking a lawsuit. Perhaps paradoxically, while such soft skills will be ever more important, those must increasingly be accompanied by being technical enough to address supervisees' technical problems, albeit perhaps with AI help. And as always, building relationships with at least one higher-up can make you layoff resistant. For example, you might offer to help your boss with something he or she doesn't do as well as you do, or have the bandwidth for. Managing up. Individualize here as well. Does your boss want regular detailed updates, macro ones, or mainly just when there's a problem that requires his or her help? Is your boss more quantitative or qualitative, fact or feeling-centric, crisp or comprehensive? You solidify your job if you help your boss, praise him or her at a meeting, offer to help out, just listening, or even befriending. Pivot promptly. Because of sunk cost, some managers stay with a project when the time and money could be better spent. When the probabilities turn ugly, cut the cord and reallocate. Hiring and firing. Alas, desperate job seekers too often do desperately dishonest things to make themselves look better than they are. To avoid giving you ideas, I'll just say I know it's true. That's why it may be as important as ever or more, as Google does, to hire mainly from employee referrals, including people you know personally. That increases your chances of a quality candidate pool. But rather than rely on standard interview questions and reference checks to weed them out, Interviews should prioritize simulations of the job's common, difficult tasks. Regarding references, almost anybody can get a few good references, so you might ask your finalist candidates for at least 4. Ask those references to apply only if they think the candidate would be excellent on the job you're filling. If not, you simply shouldn't reply. That avoids them having to say bad things about the candidate. Unless at least half the referrers respond, beware. When you feel it isn't fair to you, coworkers, or customers to give an employee additional help or time, instead of the traditional performance improvement plan, which may increase enmity more than performance, consider trying to counsel the person out before actually firing them, which does risk lawsuits in this day and age. For example, you might say something like, well, we both know that this job isn't a good fit. May I help you try to find a better suited position? Inspiring. The beloved manager inspires each employee with the aforementioned earned praise and individualized treatment, but also reminding the troops of the work group's importance. Even in a business as mundane as a nut and bolt distributor, it helps to remind people that those nuts and bolts are the building blocks for so many essential products, from your car to your home's foundation. Public speaking. Fear of public speaking can be reduced by realizing you'll do better if you don't script or memorize. Too much can go wrong when you try to do that. Besides, scripting and memorizing leaches the chemistry from your talk, and chemistry is a key benefit of a talk over, say, an email. In preparing for a talk, just list a few points that are important but not obvious to your target audience. Present each crisply, perhaps with a supporting anecdote, statistic, or an explanation of why it's important. Ums, ahs, hesitations, and retracements don't detract much. In fact, those convey that you're not giving a canned speech. Good actors deliberately insert those to convey verisimilitude. And keep it short. Very rarely does an audience wish a speaker spoke for longer. Think back to talks that you've attended. And finally, ethics. The beloved manager solidly errs toward the ethical and makes the case to the troops, but may not be a purist when the benefits of a cut corner outweigh the impact of the ethical slight. Of course, this crazy short course, if you will, on becoming a beloved manager is incomplete, and not all will always apply to your situation. But I hope it's been worth at least the few minutes that it took for you to watch this. In any event, that's becoming a beloved manager. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, and certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 36 books, including the just published favorites, my best articles, and short stories. In any event, thanks for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.